Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the millennial mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcome to episode 214, celebrating our 5th year on the air. Here's to another exciting episode. It's always such a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for tuning in every Saturday night and engaging with me on social media. That truly makes it all worthwhile. Please continue to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. And remember that all episodes of A Moment of Zen are available on our YouTube channel Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern via digital streaming. And you can also check us out on Your Home TV platform at mox.yourhometv.com. In the Polished Beauty segment, today we're talking about unlocking your potential with sibling experts that are going to share the blueprint for personal and professional growth. Dr. Daisy is a triple board certified cosmetic surgeon and OBGYN, a medical thought leader, and the founder of the Polished Beauty podcast. She's going to be joining me today with her brother, not just any brother, Dr. Emmanuel Ayim. He's a former NCAA Division I All-American athlete. He's a life coach, and he's a professor at UNLV, an author of the powerful eBook, Achieving Your Greatest Potential. In the Hydration with Heart segment, proudly brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, we're going from sidelines to the spotlight. We're chatting how Megan Linke is redefining soccer mom goals with style, sustainability, and heart, and how her soccer podcast, The Soccer Ladder with Lee and Me, has become so popular. In the health tip of the week, brought to you by the New Jersey Fieldhouse, we're chatting why kids quit sports and how to keep them in the game. In our Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift in our Expert on the Microphone series, today we're joined by Dr. Jerry Chidester, also known as Dr. Chitty. He's a board-certified plastic surgeon and the founder of the Plastics Clinic and Spa and High Point Surgery Center in Draper, Utah. He's going to join us today to chat all about the world of social media as a medical professional, navigating the medical board red tape, and how to show up authentically while still maintaining patient trust. In our health tip of the week, brought to you by Cispera, today we're chatting post-winter skin recovery. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this with Dr. Daisy Ayim and Dr. Emmanuel Ayim in the Polished Beauty segment. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
Are you looking to build a new home? Think about building a barn-dominium. There's just something about getting away from it all. Country living, fresh air, and outdoor entertainment. Watch luxury barn-dominium tours on Your Home TV and let Stacy Lynn, the barn-dominium lady, take you on a journey through her barn-dominium designs.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcome back to the Polished Beauty segment. We're diving into something both personal and powerful today, the synergy between family wellness and purpose. We're going to be chatting all about unlocking your potential with sibling experts. They're going to be sharing the blueprint for personal and professional growth. Now get this, nearly 83% of people believe they're not living up to their full potential. And research shows that siblings influence each other's career success nearly 40% of the time. So what happens when a brother and sister each carve out extraordinary paths but keep their values aligned? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be unpacking today with two exceptional guests who are also family. First, you know her very well, our resident expert on all things beauty, health, and empowerment. Dr. Daisy Ayim is a triple board certified cosmetic surgeon and OBGYN, a medical thought leader, and the founder of the Polished Beauty podcast. Her approach blends precision science with compassionate care, and she's also one of those few rare doctors who understands beauty from the inside out. Joining her today is her amazing brother, not just any brother. Dr. Emmanuel Ayim is a former NCAA Division I All-American athlete, life coach, and professor at UNLV, an author of an incredible book called Achieving Your Greatest Potential. He's made his mission to help people and organizations elevate performance through purpose-driven living, and his AGP method is literally transforming lives. Together, they're proof that when your foundation is built on love, values, and vision, you don't just succeed, you soar. Welcome to the show, superstars.
Yeah. Thank you, Zen.
Thank you, Zen.
So let's start on the field. Emmanuel, are you ready? Your transition from professional soccer to academia is truly remarkable. Roughly 70% of executives say participation in sports has actually helped build their leadership skills. Now, your background as a Division I NCAA All-American and pro athlete no doubt has shaped your mindset. So how did your experience as a high-level athlete influence your approach to education and coaching?
You know, it influenced it very, very much. Some of the attributes that I exhibited as a pro soccer player, as a collegiate soccer player, such as discipline and consistency, have been translated quite seamlessly into my career as a professor and as a life coach. Another principle that I used when I was an athlete is that fun facilitates learning. When you're having fun and you enjoy what you're doing, you tend to have your maximal success.
That makes so much sense. It's clear that truly discipline, grit, and structure are core to how you operate, how we all operate, and you've carried that from the soccer pitch to the classroom, so I love it. Now, Dr. Daisy, we talk a lot on this segment about how women break barriers and men, but I'm curious about what plants the seed. Studies show that siblings influence each other's career paths nearly 40% of the time, especially in those high-achieving households. Now, let's talk about the home life you two have shared. How did growing up together help shape your passion and plant that seed for medicine?
Yeah, thank you, Zen. I think the first thing we need to go back to our background. You know, we're both from Cameroon born and we migrated here. We're immigrants. And so we came with that immigrant family mindset. And I think most immigrant family would tell you when you come to the U.S., you're planted with the core values of wanting to succeed. So inherently, you are already at this head start. Then you have a family structure. We were blessed to have our mom and dad that value education, value success, and they were very consistent, constantly reminding us that we should do great things for our lives. So because you had that frequent reminder, and then being the oldest and having a sibling that's equally driven and a younger sister, the three of us just kind of locked head and said, okay, we're going to work and help each other out. And our parents, again, constantly reminded us and emphasized it, education, education, education. And at that time, you didn't have social media to kind of tell you otherwise. So, you know, by default, the core principles of having God first and morals and culture, it just cultivated us really nicely.
I love that. It's so powerful to hear how values can be instilled early on and how two individuals from the same family can thrive in totally different but equally impactful ways. It truly, you know, proof is in the pudding. Now, one of the reasons I was so excited to have you on is because Achieving Your Greatest Potential is more than just a book. It's a blueprint, Emmanuel. And when you look at the studies, 83% of people reported feeling like they are not living up to their full potential, as I said in the intro. Now, your AGP framework really hits home for a lot of us. Can you walk us through the core philosophy behind it?
Yes, AGP, Achieve Your Greatest Potential, basically is that happiness and purpose go lockstep with each other. I've discovered in my experience that, you know, when you are living your life, when you're living out your purpose, you tend to be happy and you tend to be fulfilled, and then you tend to reach your maximal potential. For example, if you're a fish, you should find water to swim, right? If you're a lizard, you should find a tree to climb. If you are a bird, you should fly. If you take a fish and ask it to climb up a tree, it's going to feel as if it's inadequate its entire life.
Wow.
I know. I love that.
That really hits. Now, okay, so Dr. Daisy, I know you have a couple of questions for your brother.
Yeah, AGP model, the core value of it is grit and emotional intelligence, and you speak so much about it. Can you explain to us how this helps with sustaining success in an individual?
So what is grit? Grit is overcoming obstacles. It's getting up every time you fall down. Now, emotional intelligence, on the other hand, there's 4 frameworks of emotional intelligence. There's self-awareness, there's self-management, there's social awareness, and there's relationship management. When you marry emotional intelligence and grit, you are on your way to success. In fact, 58 to about 60% of growth and promotion on the job depends on emotional intelligence, not just IQ on its own.
Wow. So let's talk about burnout. Burnout is real, especially in medicine. Recent studies show that 65% of physicians are reporting signs of burnout. Dr. Daisy, you can totally attest to this, with female doctors reporting even higher levels. And yet, you always seem centered, focused, and fully present. So what's your secret to maintaining personal well-being?
Wow. I mean, burnout is real. And I'm going to speak truly to my physician colleagues, especially women. It's a lot to balance the home life, the family life, and the job life. And healthcare has changed so much. I always see that the best way to avoid burnout is to truly pick a specialty that resonates with what you want to do in your personal life. So enjoy the work, but don't let it consume you. Don't let your identity be your job description. That should be integral in who you are and what you do in your life. So for me, I like being a solo practice owner because it allowed me to customize how I interact with my patient and also how I balance my personal life. And I think that was probably my secret in not being burned out, is just having that autonomy. But healthcare has changed. The solo practice model is being consumed by, venture capitalists and bigger hospital entities. So that luxury doesn't exist as much. And the way I've tried to avoid it is just turn up other aspects of my life, working out more, hanging out with family, traveling, and just doing simple things that kind of take away from the everyday grind of it.
I admire that so much. It's so refreshing to hear someone in such a high stakes field talk about the importance of taking care of the caretaker, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all about that. Okay, so Dr. Emmanuel, you can't talk about AGP without discussing wellness, right? So according to the CDC, only 20% of adults, U.S. adults, get the recommended amount of exercise and mental health care. So many of us are just trying to find balance in a nonstop world. What do you recommend as a starting point?
As a starting point, finding balance, it's there's a health diamond that includes diet, it includes your genetics, it includes rest, and it also includes exercise. I always tell folks, when you're looking to exercise, yes, it's good to have a gym membership, but you don't really need a gym membership. You can just move around naturally throughout the day, right? So that's the health diamond. Additionally, I have what I'm called the health cyclohexane structure for those of you who took organic chemistry. So you have the diet, you have the exercise, you have the rest, and you have the genetics. But I'm also adding medical attention and then a social outlet. If you truly have that 6 points of a cyclohexane structure in place and you practice them consistently and weekly, you're on your way to finding balance.
So simple. Again, helpful and realistic perspective, especially the way you tie performance to well-being. You can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Absolutely.
Now, we often say success is a solo pursuit, but it's rarely achieved alone, right? And it goes back to research by Harvard. It shows that strong family and social support systems directly correlate to higher career satisfaction and resilience. And you two are a walking example of that. What roles does your sibling bond play in your continued success and growth? Dr. Daisy, you can go first.
My younger brother, and I always used to joke and say that when I grow up, I want to be him.
Oh.
And that's just because he had a very solid person. You know what I'm talking about? He was that individual where I could call about anything at any time, and I know I was going to get a solid advice, and I was going to get a prudent advice, and it was going to take into consideration everything about me. So that's what I loved about that. Our parents really did a good job to raise us in such a way that we like each other. Love, I think, comes with a family because you're born into, but to truly like each other is something that you cultivate by seeing how you interact. So just having that stability in that confidence, in knowing that I had a brother that I could call regarding anything and he would be there was amazing. And also, he's also high achieving. And that made it easier to relate because we could actually speak on such an intellectual level and yet bring it down to a very normal, easy way just because, again, he's a life coach and he's always been that way in Macon. And I guess he was coaching me and I didn't realize that's what he was doing. So I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Dr. Daisy. On the same vein, I have profound respect for my older sister, Dr. Daisy. She's a leader. Her gift is leadership, administration, and she's very savvy in business as well as in serving through medicine. We looked up to each other. I tell my kids now that your spouse will come later in the life journey, and your parents will fall off towards the end of your life journey. But your siblings are there with you from the beginning and all the way to the end. So it behooves you to have a strong relationship with your siblings, to lean into one another, because they're there for their entire life journey, and it can be a beautiful thing.
Oh, you guys are just making me really take a step back and reflect on what really is important. I have a sister, and that's always been my mindset, and it's time to really just put that back into perspective. So thank you for sharing that with me. And you guys are so transparent with one another. I mean, I feel like it flows very naturally between the two of you. Now, Dr. Emmanuel, you haven't had any chance to ask any questions. So if you can ask your sister any question, what would it be?
I would ask you, Dr. Daisy, what is your core value in life that drives your decision-making, your processing, your day-to-day, and everything that you do? What's your core value?
Well, the first thing is God first, right? I do believe in God. And so with that, I'm very mindful in how I take decisions and choices that can impact anyone, because I keep that resonated with every step. Then the second thing, which is very important, is peace. Is a decision or the act I'm going to do brings peace to someone? Because I certainly don't want to be a burden to anyone's journey. I see myself as a vehicle from point A to point B. And my job in that vehicle process is make it as pleasant and truthful and kind and peaceful as possible, so that when you get there, you look back and you remember how you were made to feel. So seeking peace in my decision-making is very important for me.
Wow. You guys have a very interesting and unique perspective of almost saying the same things in just very different ways. Like, it's two parallel approaches to get to that same end result. And it's just two different perspectives, two different frame of minds. And I love that you each have carved out your own journey. And instead of running perpendicular to each other, it's truly just this incredible, life unfolding parallel. And it shows. It's the bond is there, and it's beautiful. It's such a gift to not only have that kind of bond, but to also use it to uplift others.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I agree.
And I would say this, this is not without its low moments, because life has its high and low moments, and every family has its high and low moments. I think the most important message is being able to lock in on each other and try to bring the best in each other, in your family, because every family has its cracks and its highs and lows. So please don't take it as this is a perfect family, because it isn't. But what makes it a perfect union is understanding that when he is low, I am the one to bring him up. When I'm low, he's the one to bring me up. And that's how it is in any partnership or family relationship that you may have. Tuning in and reading the cues on when to step in more or when to step back more.
That's great advice. Well, we are officially at the end of our date. Thank you both so much for joining us. I know, Dr. Daisy, you have one signature question that you sign off your podcast with. Would you like to take a hit at it?
Absolutely. I think I may know the answer to this, but I'm curious to know, Dr. Emmanuel, if you had to look at where you are right now, that one bold decision or bold step or anything, what would you say has brought you to this point in your life today?
What has brought me to this point? I had a transformative experience. We've talked a little bit, broached the subject of mental health. And I remember as a sophomore in college, I faced my lowest point in life where I was low. And I think making the decision to get on that plane and fly back to University of Dayton, Ohio, to persist and ultimately graduate with a degree in biology at the age of 20, that has been a catapult. It's been a trampoline that I've bounced off and just set the tone for the rest of my life. Again, as you said, Dr. Daisy, life is not perfect. And a lot of folks are struggling. A lot of those folks have low moments. And if you're one of those people, don't give up, right? Reach down within. Your ability to succeed, your ability to thrive, your ability to live your best life, your ability to achieve your greatest potential is within you. Sometimes you just need a helping hand from a life coach to help pull out the solution to your problems.
Thank you both for sharing your journeys, your insights, and your undeniable synergy. For our listeners looking to tap into their own greatness, you can learn more about Dr. Emmanuel Ayim's coaching and download his ebook at DrEmmanuelAyim.com, or you can check him out on the gram at Emmanuel Ayim. And of course, stay connected with Dr. Daisy at Dr. Daisy on her Polished Beauty podcast. Thank you both for coming on. It was a pleasure having you.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Remember, the path to purpose is rarely linear, but when it's fueled by values, discipline, and love, your greatest potential becomes not just possible, but inevitable. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this. A Moment of Zen is brought to you by the Polished Beauty Podcast with Dr. Daisy Ayim. Hey, ambitious women, ready to shine on the inside and out? Tune in to the Polished Beauty Podcast, where we talk about business, beauty, brains, and body all in one spot. Meet Dr. Daisy Ayim, triple board certified cosmetic surgeon, pro-aging advocate, fitness enthusiast, and your go-to for real talk on leveling up every part of your life. The Polished Beauty Podcast is your dose of ambition meets empowerment. For more information, head to polishedbeautypodcast.com. Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Today's Hydration with Heart segment is proudly brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, the better-for-you beverage brand that's all about keeping you nourished inside and out. Now, when we think of soccer mom, the old-school stereotype might flash through your mind. SUV, snack packs, and sideline duty. But my next guest is rewriting that narrative with flair. Megan Linke is a modern-day powerhouse blending purpose, passion, and play. Whether she's advocating for animals, scouting the best vegan bites, or cheering on her son Liam from the stands, she brings heart to everything she touches. She's graced the pages of Out Living, New York Times, and even MLS Season Pass as ambassador for the New York Red Bulls. Now, with a social presence that screams authenticity and glam, Megan is proof that hydration, hustle, and heart can all coexist effortlessly. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
So excited to have you on. I love it that you are a native New Yorker. How fitting and perfect.
Love it.
Now, the heart of the sidelines. Let's talk about this. You've been called the ultimate soccer mom, but you've truly redefined what that means, especially as someone who brings grace and grit to every game. And according to Project Play, over 60% of U.S. youth play organized sports, and parental involvement deeply impacts this experience. So how has your role on the sidelines shaped your relationship with Liam, and what message do you hope your presence sends to other parents balancing ambition with family?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. So I would say it has brought Liam and I closer together. He's at a point in his career where he plays with Red Bull Academy, and we spend a lot of time at Red Bull Academy, either at practice or at games. So whether it's a lot of travel time, car time, we go through wins and losses together, we go over bad plays together, a lot of talk. So it's definitely brought us closer together. And he knows that I'm his number one supporter. So I'm always going to tell him the truth. I'm always going to give him the real, but I'm always going to be his number one supporter.
That's beautiful. Now let's talk about the next Fashion Meets Function. So you've been featured as one of FeedSpot's top sports and travel influencers. And let's not lie, your sideline fashion is next level. You look incredible today.
Thank you.
But behind the looks is a message, right? In fact, 75% of Gen Z and millennials say they prefer buying from brands aligned with their values. So how do you merge your fashion choices with your commitment to sustainability and ethical living? And what tips can you share for us parents who want to show up stylish without compromising our values?
I take the time to research if they're vegan, if they're eco-friendly, if they're plant-based, if they're sustainable. And I think that's very important. I also love, especially living here in New York City, thrift stores, consignment stores. There's places like Rent the Runway. I use them a lot for photo shoots or just things that I may need for a special occasion and never wear again. As I get older, I've definitely stopped buying so much stuff as well. and just have some staple pieces, and you can reuse those as well. So I think it's just a matter of taking time and researching the company. And it doesn't always have to be expensive. Just buy some staples and then add on from there.
And that blend of mindful and modern is such a sweet spot, right? And the idea that fashion can be both expressive and ethical really resonates, especially now.
For sure.
Now let's talk about plant-powered passion. So you're a passionate vegan and vocal, and you're very vocal about, animals and advocacy and animal rights. And studies actually show that a plant-based diet can reduce water usage. Who would have known? By up to 55%. Talk about hydration with purpose. So when did your journey into veganism begin, and how has it shaped your identity, but not just as an influencer, as a mom and as a role model?
Ooh, okay. So I became a vegan when COVID started. COVID was so bad here in New York City that I was just freaked out. And for some reason, I don't know, I just needed I needed a change. I wasn't going to the grocery store. I didn't go to the grocery store for like 6 months when COVID started. So I started ordering from a subscription called Sakara, and they're like really well known in the plant-based world. Very clean. Everything is like clean, raw. They get it from a farm, and it's a subscription service where it came like right to my front door. And when I started that, I just instantly felt better. Less congested, less inflammation in my face. And so it started from there. That's how I became a vegan, and I continued with it. But as the years went on, you learn more about being a vegan and animal rights and being an animal activist. That's extremely important to me, and how the animals are treated. So it's just one thing that I could never go back to. Eating meat. So it's changed my entire life. So I try pretty much everything in my life. I try to have it be plant-based or vegan, from what I eat and put in my body to skincare to what I put on, shoes even. I mean, it's not always possible, but you try. I try to do that as much as possible. So at home, my son is 11, going on 12 here soon, next week. But he knows I'm a vegan. I don't expect him to be vegan. He's just too young. And I feel like he knows why that I am. And, being an animal activist, and I don't agree with animal cruelty. So he knows why that I am and how important it is to me. And he eats his vegetables and, eats healthy most of the time. But he will have meat and protein, and I allow that. I think in time, like, he'll come into his own and figure out what he wants to do in his life.
That's such a refreshing take, especially when it comes to modeling compassionate choices for the next generation. And I love that you've given him that space to figure it out on his own. And on the flip side, your conviction is contagious. Now let's talk hydration. So we can't talk about wellness without diving into hydration, especially for active parents and athletes in training. Hydration plays a huge role in brain function, in mood, and physical performance. Dehydration in kids can even lower academic performance. So what's your go-to hydration ritual, and how do you make sure both you and Liam are staying fueled and refreshed on and off the field?
So honestly, we just drink a lot of water, and we believe in doing that 24/7 or, outside of sleeping. And even if you do wake up during the night, you should be hydrating, drinking some water. But yeah, it's not something that I want Liam to down a bottle of water before he goes to practice. No, he needs to start early throughout the day, and it keeps him refreshed and, feels better during practice. For myself, if I don't get enough water in the day, my body feels it. I'm like, oh shoot, I haven't drank enough water today. So other things that we do besides water is we will have, we make sure we have, veggies and items that will help hydrate us as well, such as watermelon or oranges, grapes, apples, cucumbers. So we try and do a lot of different things. There are times that we need like a Pedialyte, so we will throw that in there. But coconut water, that's another great source.
Big shout out to coconut water. We cannot deny
yes,
coconut water and not talk about coconuts, right?
absolutely.
It's nature's Gatorade.
No, it's so important. So we're just a big believer in drinking as much water, as much coconut water as possible throughout the day. It's not just something you can just do a temporary downing of that water. No, you need to keep it going.
It needs to be part of the routine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love how hydration becomes this little ritual of self-care, something so simple but powerful. It's those mindful choices that really keep us going.
Oh, for sure. Big believer in it. It's so good for our skin, for our body, for, fuel and energy. So for sure.
Okay, now, culture through travel. You've been hailed as one of FeedSpot's top travel influencers, and your adventures are not just picturesque, they're purposeful. We have 90% of families reporting that travel strengthens relationships. It's clear that exploration is more than a luxury, it's bonding. So what are some of the most meaningful lessons travel has taught you as a mom, and how do you keep those values alive at home?
Well, that's a good question. One, I think travel is so important. It opens our mind to different cultures and different areas and different people. So I think that is so important in itself. I tend to be a workaholic. The beauty of my job is I can do it anywhere on my phone, but and oftentimes when I'm traveling, I am working. But there are trips where I just want to zone out, and you have to do that. And that's one thing that travel teaches me as well, is to have your downtime. Whether I'm traveling alone or with girlfriends, doing a girls trip, or with Liam, I need that downtime for us to explore, enjoy the city. So it's a great travel's a great reminder to have that downtime, to bring it back home as well. You still need that downtime in your house and with your children, and put the phone down and, really enjoy him as well. So I'm such a pro for travel, for families, for moms, for dads, for, guys trips, girls trips, taking your kids, having fun, just go out and see the world for sure.
That's the beauty of travel, right? Taking the world in, but also bringing the lessons home, and with kids, it's those memories that really stick.
Oh, absolutely. Even just, coming home and having explored new food, bringing that home and then trying to, implement that into our routine and continue that.
That's fun. Now, let's talk about your podcast. The soccer ladder with Lee and me is such a clever twist on family storytelling. I absolutely love this. And with podcasting now reaching over 180 million Americans, it's becoming a vital tool for personal connection. I know this better than anyone else.
Yeah, right.
So what inspired the show, and what has surprised you most about sharing your journey in this way?
Wow. So, and this is actually how I've kind of lived my life. I don't overthink things at all. I tend to just jump right in. So I had been throwing out the idea to my staff and to family and friends, hey, I think I want to start this podcast for soccer parents. I mean, we're in this world where it's it's an amazing journey, but it's so unknown. There's just so many questions, especially when the kids are in an academy and they're on this path and on this journey to possibly go pro, and going pro younger and younger. There's kids signing at 14, 15, 16 years old now. So it's just, it's such an unknown world. So anyhow, I said, I think I'm going to start it. I told my trainer. My trainer's hey, I have this friend that he has a studio. Why don't you go over and meet with him? So I did. And he's like, yeah, sure, we can share the space. And I literally set up my first podcast within I think within 1 or 2 weeks. And we've had just so many people reach out to us to come on our podcast. So it's really remarkable. And so we have on pro players, we have on coaches, we have on parents, parents of kids that are in the academy or in club soccer that are going on this journey. So it's so good just to hear the stories and what they're going through and to be able to relate and help you. There's so many great tips. And one thing, I think the biggest thing that Liam and I have learned, because he's on it and he gets to sit and ask questions as well, is this journey, it's not like a one-way journey. Everyone has their own path, whether they could be club soccer and then maybe they go to college and then maybe they get their pro career from there at like 21, 22 years old. Or there's kids that are, like a homegrown player where they get signed at 14, 15 years old and there's their pro contract right there. So, and then to hear their stories from either being signed early, sometimes they have injury and then they talk about how they deal with their setbacks and the injuries and training and like getting back and, just sometimes there's depression. So there's just so many valuable lessons that we've been able to, for us, Liam and I, to take in and then to share with the world. And we've had such positive feedback. We're getting feedback from people in Belgium, from people in Paris, and, all over the U.S. and people reaching out to come on and share their story. So it's been beyond my wildest dreams.
Well, it's definitely an authentic platform, and the way you keep it raw and real is what makes it so magnetic. I mean, you're not just building a brand, you're building community, right? And it's a great example for Liam to see you in action. Right?
Oh, thank you.
You see him in action, he gets to see you in action. It's a very nice reciprocation. Now let's talk about using your platform for good. So from Yahoo's list of inspiring influencers to being a CEW rising star, I mean, you've amassed an incredible following, but it's clear your focus is on impact, not just influence.
Correct.
So what's the legacy you hope to leave behind with your platform, and how do you stay grounded but maintain that inspiration for others?
Oh, I love that question. Well, I'm turning 48 on Monday.
Happy birthday. By the way, you don't look 48. Girl, you look like, oh boy. I can't wait for them to have to look at you. I mean, she's
You're
gorgeous.
way too kind. Oh my goodness. So I'm not young, but the thing that I love is that I'm constantly reinventing myself and finding pushing the envelope and finding myself in positions that I never could have dreamt about. So that's what I want from my platform. And when people come on, they're like, dang, look at her. She can do it. I can do it. So I want people to believe in their dreams. If you're 35, if you're 40, if you're 42, if you're a stay-at-home mom, whatever it is, you can do it. Believe in your dreams and go for it. Whatever that may be. It might be just a hobby. Go for it. So I love that. I feel like that I touch so many different people. I'm not just a niche person. So, we have vegans that come on. We have the plant-based following. We have dogs. I do a lot with local dog rescues. So a lot of things with special needs dogs. And so we have that fashion, beauty. So I really just want to have people come, to my universe and feel like they're loved, they're touched. It's very authentic. I often share times where we are at the dentist or doing whatever, So it's very real. And I just hope that inspires to people to be the same. And I think that's what pulls in more opportunities for you. The more that you're real and you share that. I mean, that's how I stumbled into the soccer world, was just by sharing videos of Liam and posting them on social media. Apple TV saw that, and that's how I became the MLS ambassador, and that opened up a whole new world for me. So
yeah, that and you know what? It's that humility paired with your purpose. That's what truly sets you apart. I mean, you're proving that influence doesn't have to be loud; it just has to be real.
Oh yeah, yes, I'm a firm believer in that. I mean, influencing is wonderful, but there's a lot of people out there doing it, or you see just, the fashion or the beauty, and that's fabulous too. But you can definitely have purpose and, meaning, and just keep inspiring. Keep doing it.
Absolutely. Well, we are officially out of time, my dear. Thank you so much for coming on and joining us today and pouring your heart into this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful.
For those of you who want to follow her journey, you can find her on Instagram and YouTube at Lee and Me in NYC, and you can visit her site, same one, leeandmeinnyc.com, for all things soccer, travel, and soul fuel storytelling. This was the Hydration with Heart segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut.
Discover the refreshing taste of 100% pure coconut water that actually tastes great. Naturally sweet with no artificial flavors or added sugar. It's packed with electrolytes to keep you hydrated throughout your day. And with 10% of profits going to charity, every sip makes a difference. Pure taste, pure goodness. Experience nature's Gatorade. Visit Once Upon a Coconut or naturesgatorade.com. Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. In the health tip of the week brought to you by the New Jersey Fieldhouse, we're chatting why kids quit sports and how to keep them in the game. By age 13, over 70% of our kids drop out of organized sports, and the top reasons might surprise you. It's not because they're lazy, it's because it stops being fun. Studies show the three most common reasons are too much pressure, not enough playing time, and it just wasn't fun anymore. As parents and coaches, we can definitely change that. Let's bring back the joy by focusing less on the scoreboard and more on connection, creativity, and personal growth. Ask your child, what makes this fun for you? And then listen. When we make sports a safe, inspiring place to grow, not just win, kids stay in the game and in love with it.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by the Fieldhouse in Northvale, New Jersey, a vibrant and fresh take on youth and adult sports and family fun, and home to the New Jersey Thunder softball program. Plan unforgettable birthday parties or private events, or explore camps and programs that keep kids active and inspired. Take time for yourself in adult leagues or rent a field or court with friends. From a cutting-edge gaming cave to hitting and pitching centers and top-tier sports instructors, the Fieldhouse is reigniting the next generation of play. Head to njfieldhouse.com. Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
In business and in life, there's always an upside. Finding it is often the challenge. Having a mindset that looks for it and embraces problems as opportunities is the key to thriving. Finding the Upside with Maria de Lorenzis Reyes explores the transformative power of optimism, featuring visionary business owners, influential leaders, and inspiring everyday people. Tune in and see how they navigate changing conditions with optimism and innovation. Watch the special series One Tough Chick, highlighting resilient and powerful women, streaming on yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in the Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift in our Expert on the Microphone series, today we're joined by Dr. Jerry Scheidster, also known as Dr. Chitty. He's a board-certified plastic surgeon and the founder of the Plastics Clinic and Spa and High Point Surgery Center in Draper, Utah, which is basically Salt Lake City. He's known for blending innovative surgical techniques with a fresh, authentic social media presence. Now, Dr. Chitty has grown a loyal following by educating and empowering patients through transparency, storytelling, and a little bit of fun. After leaving his first job early in his career to build his own practice from the ground up, he's since become a national speaker on branding, social media, and the modern aesthetics practice. Whether he's in the OR or on TikTok, Dr. Chitty is all about real talk, real transformations, and helping refine what it means to be a plastic surgeon in today's world. He's going to join us right now to chat all about the world of social media as a medical professional, navigating the medical board red tape, and how to show up authentically while still maintaining patient trust. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hey, Zen, thank you so much for having me.
So I'm going to dive right in. You've mastered the world of social media, but you're balancing your plastic surgery career and actually finding a both authentic and entertaining way to really blend those two worlds. And that's no easy feat. So since starting, you built a strong online following. Was that intentional or did it just grow organically from your day-to-day as a doctor? Like, fill me in here.
It definitely grew organically and over time. I think when I started using social media to help educate my patients and the public back in like 2018, 2019, I had no idea what I was doing. I think a lot of people were just trying to figure out, navigate, what platforms like Instagram and then later TikTok could do. And it evolved for me. So originally I was just showing befores and afters, trying to, show people my work. But then I realized a lot of patients really, there were a lot of walls and stigmas about plastic surgery. And so I started to educate more and more about the nuances of what we do, why we do tummy tucks, why are we doing breast lifts, breast reductions, and really just trying to educate and empower people. And I think because of that and the way I went about doing it, it really drew a certain crowd. And it's been a great platform to really help, again, break down those walls. And it's been amazing.
And I know, and you've done such a great job at maintaining both that online presence and still maintaining that professionalism and following the guidelines. And I know whether you're in the OR or on TikTok, you're all about real talk, real transformations, and really helping refine what it means to be a plastic surgeon in today's world. And with such a strong presence, both online and in the clinic, I imagine there can be some differences between those two worlds, to say the least. So do you feel any kind of pressure to perform online differently than how you show up in the clinic?
I think one thing that actually patients will mention when they come in and actually meet me after seeing me online is they say that I'm the same in person as I am online. I have a lot of energy. And so that's just how I am on Instagram. I do dances because it's fun for me. But then when they meet me in person, it's the same level of energy and personality. I feel like I'm not trying to sell somebody something to then give them something else when they meet me. I'm just trying to be myself and be authentic, like you said. And I think, and that's the hardest part, I think, for surgeons in general. You talk about kind of redefining what does it mean to be a plastic surgeon on social media nowadays. It's really finding your own voice and finding who you are, and then being able to portray that on social media so that people can gain that trust in you. And then when you educate and teach them, they trust what you're saying, and it really, again, empowers them to make the right decisions for themselves.
Yeah. Now let's chat about the online posting guidelines as a doctor. So with more doctors showing up on social media, it makes you wonder just how much freedom you actually have online. So are there guidelines from the medical board around what's acceptable for doctors to post, or are you just expected to use common sense?
I actually love this question you bring it up. The interesting thing is that all the different, so there's like state medical boards, right? Like in New York State, Utah State, we have our own medical boards, and they don't have really specific guidelines for that. But it comes down to more of our specialties. So me as a plastic surgeon, being a member of, a full member of the American Society of Plastic Surgeons and the Aesthetic Society, they have ethical guidelines, and those will include things like, what to do and post on social media that are safe and ethical. And so I definitely adhere to those. And I've actually been a part of committees that have helped shape those to really, we want to put the best thing out there for patients, but make sure the information is accurate, that we're not exaggerating things, but that we're, again, empowering patients. So yeah, it's really dependent on what specialty you're in. And so then you have some specialties who don't regulate it. And there's a lot of non-plastic surgeons doing plastic surgery. They're not regulated by those same ethical codes. And so sometimes you get misinformation from those different doctors because they're not held to the same standards.
That makes sense. Now let's flip the script and look at this from the patient's perspective. So trust is everything in both the medical world and online. How do you draw the line between a paid endorsement and a genuine recommendation? And why is that distinction so important for your followers and even your future patients?
That is huge. I actually talked about this with my wife all the time. We talk about, because I get approached a lot by different companies, and they say, hey, can you promote this product or whatever? And number one, I think if you're going to obviously promote anything, you have to follow the federal, Trade Commission guidelines, FTC guidelines. You have to disclose that you're being sponsored by someone. So that's number one. But two, for me, I've been very selective, like very, very selective on anything that I advertise. Honestly, I try not to use my platform to advertise products, and I don't typically do sponsorships because I don't want patients to feel like I'm trying to sell them anything. I don't, I try to educate online, and then patients can make that decision for themselves of what they want. And so, there's this kind of blurry line between being a online plastic surgery surgeon presence and being an influencer. And I'd rather always pick that being a plastic surgeon, being true to what I believe is going to be the best for patients, and not worry about sponsorships and push those types of products. That's just my personal thing. I know there's a lot of really good surgeons out there who are sponsored, and they'll just put a disclaimer on that, and they do a great job. So that's just my personal take on it.
That's a great take on it. Thank you for your honesty and transparency. That's so important. And on the topic of genuine product recommendations, let's chat about CO2 Lift. So as we know, CO2 Lift is a topical carboxy gel mask with both monotherapy and combo therapy benefits post-procedure. Dr. Chitty, I know you're familiar with the product. How do you incorporate it into your treatment plans, and how have you firsthand seen it improve a patient's results and recovery?
Yeah, I do a ton of breast and body surgery. That's my main focus. We have an aesthetic spa as well, where our estheticians like to use the CO2 lift for the face and other areas to help hydrate the skin and make it look really nice. But for me, surgically speaking, when I'm doing breast and body liposuction or breast lifts, I actually will apply it immediately after surgery. We're still in the operating room, and we'll create the carboxy gel, we'll spread it out. And I really love it because I do think it actually brings oxygen to the tissues. And, when we're doing a tummy tuck or liposuction or even a breast lift, we're having to cut skin and tissue, and we're actually disrupting blood flow to skin and tissue. So we want as much blood flow as we can to help that heal and heal safely. So I've actually used carboxy, the CO2 gel, for quite a while now to put it on all my patients. I've seen the bruising improve significantly. A lot quicker than I did when I wasn't using it. I've used it on breast surgery. So after anyone gets a breast lift, a lot of times we'll use the CO2 gel just to help promote blood flow to the area, help again with bruising. So I've actually been really happy with the product. And that's why, I've been working with the company, because I really do see the benefits for my patients with it.
Truly proprietary. And the science is the science. They have a bunch of clinicals and a whole bunch of trials that they have partaken in, and you're not the only one endorsing them firsthand. We have a lot of top, triple board certified, from cosmetic surgeons to OBGYNs to dermatologists, backing everything you're saying. It reminds me of something a fellow of yours said, Dr. Hoyos. He said it's the equivalent of a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, but who can afford to get to one and displace yourself, right? So he's like, this is what that mask does, and it's really, truly proprietary. Now, shifting back to the social media world, with such a strong online presence, you make yourself accessible to more than just your pre-existing patients. Do you ever get DMs or comments from followers asking for opinions or assessments about their own cases and work? And what are the legal differences between giving general education versus specific medical advice online? And how can a doctor really stay on that safe side of that line?
Yeah, no, totally. I get a lot of questions in my DMs. I do Q&As. And so a lot of the Q&As are very general, because it's always anonymous. But yeah, I get a lot of DMs and patients who have had surgery elsewhere or who are wanting surgery, and they're from all over the country, and so I never utilize that platform as a way to do a consultation. So I don't use Instagram and things. It's not protected, private. So, we always follow HIPAA guidelines. So anytime someone's inquiring or wants to learn more, very specific to them, I will refer them to my office so we can establish a virtual or in-person consultation. So yeah, again, I think it's very important to, respect the doctor-patient relationship and those boundaries, because they can get very blurred online, and so it's always important, again, I think as medical professionals, that we always adhere to the highest levels of standard of care as well as patient privacy.
Thank you so much for that. Again, transparency. I love that you keep it separate. I think many doctors do not, but what's more important, that's your intake. That's where you will find those patients that will be the right fit for your practice. And it's circling them back to the proper ways of interacting with you and getting that consultation, but not on social media, right? So it's great that it comes full circle. Now, before we wrap up here, social media is still a relatively new space for doctors. I mean, just a few decades ago, this kind of visibility wasn't even part of the job. In your experience, do you find the medical community supporting your social media work, or is there still a stigma surrounding doctors showing up in this way? And if so, if there is that stigma, how can we break it?
Yeah, when I first started utilizing social media for my plastic surgery practice, definitely there was a lot of pushback from a lot of different, even people in my own specialty. And I've seen that evolve over the last 5, 6, 7 years, where now a lot of doctors and people in my specialty realize this is truly a platform we can utilize to educate our patients. And it's a great way, like you said, to build your presence, to actually obtain new patients through that platform. And so I've seen that really change over time. I was really worried at first, and it was hard to be myself, my own personality, because I didn't know, there weren't really any guidelines, even not too many years ago. It came full circle for me a couple of years ago. I think it was in 2023. I was awarded the inaugural annual American Society of Plastic Surgeons Social Media Award. It was their first inaugural award, and I got it for best overall presence on social media. So that was kind of like, for me, it was nice to see that, because I had gotten a lot of flack for a few years. And again, I've always tried to maintain a high level of, ethics, and again, educate and not, do weird things on here. But so it was nice to see that. But it's been fun to see my colleagues who have now picked up and done social media. And it's really helping spread, I think, the word about plastic surgery, helping break down the stigmas of what we do on a day-to-day basis.
Well, we are at the end of this incredible interview. I can't thank you enough for coming on and educating us and really teaching us exactly what we should and should not be doing in front of the camera, and of course behind. Professionals listen to this all the time, and I know other experts are valuing this segment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sam.
That was our Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift, and that was the incredible Dr. Chitty. You can learn more about his practice online at theplasticsclinic.com or on his website at Jerry, and I'm going to spell this one out, JerryChidestErMD.com. And of course, you can check him out on the gram at Dr. Chitty and at the Plastics Clinic. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. That was the Going Deep segment, brought to you by CO2 Lift. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase in luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance.
For more information or to order CO2 Lift, ask your skincare professional or go to co2lift.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. In our health tip of the week, brought to you by Cispera, today we're chatting post-winter skin recovery. Just in time with summer right around the corner. After months of cold, dry air, your skin may be feeling the effects. Dryness, dullness, and uneven skin tone are all common complaints this time of year. So, how do we get our summer glow on? Well, dermatologists recommend focusing on rehydration. Rehydrating the skin barrier with gentle moisturizers and introducing antioxidants to support repair will help replenish the skin's moisture levels. And for those of you noticing new pigmentation, now is the time to begin a consistent routine to restore balance before sun exposure increases. Prioritizing skin repair and protection now will help ensure your skin looks and feels its best as we head into warmer temperatures. That was our health tip, brought to you by Cispera. Be sure to check them out online at cispera.com and on the gram at Cispera. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Cispera. If skin discoloration is making it hard to find your Zen, Cispera can help. Stubborn pigmentation, dark spots, and uneven skin tone concerns go beyond the surface, affecting both confidence and self-expression. In a sea of skincare choices, Cispera stands apart. Backed by science and trusted by dermatologists worldwide, Cispera is powered by the advanced cysteamine isobonic amide complex, delivering clinically proven results and effectively targeting mild to persistent discoloration while restoring the skin's natural glow. Unlike harsh treatments, Cispera is formulated for all skin types, including sensitive areas, ensuring visible improvements without irritation. Whether pigmentation is a new concern or a long-standing struggle, Cispera works in harmony with the skin to bring balance, clarity, and renewed confidence. Cispera is science-driven skincare for confidence that shines. Find your skin zen and restore your glow with Cispera today by heading to Cispera.com.
Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. Or you could head to 710WOR.iHeart.com/A Moment of Zen. Also remember that we're live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, YouTube Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern, and all episodes of A Moment of Zen are available on your home TV and Kathy Ireland worldwide streaming platform. You could head directly to our channel at mox.yourhometv.com. Thank you for listening to us. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make this show possible. And remember that happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. We'll be back next week.